We have got to the end of the second day of questioning of the undercover police manager, Bob Lambert. It feels like we've been here for months already. I'm joined by Donal O'Driscoll and Evelyn Lubbers of the Undercover Research Group. Everybody has been rolling their eyes. I tried to get 3 guests for this, but nobody was else up for it. So you're just getting the core group. Bob Lambert is a very difficult person to listen to. Anybody who has been following his questioning, especially those of you who are doing it at normal speed, I know some people do it at double speed to make it a bit more bearable, will almost certainly be trying to rip their own eyelids off or something. I don't know. Just awful. He's just awful. What have you made of him?
It's awful, but made worse by the fact that every second word every word is a lie.
Yes. I mean, there's a lot of lies going on. Evelyn, what do you make of it?
Same, like he's so good at saying nothing in word salads. Just he can't put 2 words together that form a sentence. He has this he's just taking time to make sure that they don't get to really important issues. He doesn't remember. I can't hear the sentence. I can't remember today, and I'm going like, can you tomorrow maybe? Like when he means nowadays. But
I think that's a device that's used on purpose, so that if at any point he needs to rely on that information, he can go like, oh, I do remember it now, whereas I didn't remember it then.
Yeah, but he's clearly read all the documents. He keeps being able to recall stuff in other people's evidence, but he insists on reading every document. I want to go on. Could you read the first page? So he's constantly using these techniques, but he's clearly got way better recall than, because he's also able to go, nope, that didn't happen. I'm very certain. It's like, well, how can you? Nothing else is certain.
Yeah, we had it just at the end there, where there was the plan, the let's fuck up Kurt plan, which was the intention of the SDS to fit up and send down someone we're calling Kurt, because there was a possibility that they could identify Mark Jenner as an undercover officer. And he was like, oh, this is the first I've ever heard of this. I mean, he was grinning ear to ear like an idiot about the whole thing, loving the fact that almost delirious with happiness about the fact about this, reminiscing about this plan to fuck up Kurt. He's like, it's the first I've ever heard of it. Obviously, I wasn't there. And then
on holiday,
maybe. And then we're shown, it's like a second document about it that names him as being involved. He's, oh, I do apologize. I must have known. It's like, you've read these documents. They've all been disclosed to you. You've read these documents. You've shown repeatedly over the last 2 days how you're across the detail of all the documents relating to your questioning. The idea that you didn't realize that is a nonsense. You're full of nonsense, you nonsense man. We also, we had a whole bunch about the deployment of Mark Jenner. We had him talking about how, the anti-fascist action were hoodwinking the naive Lawrence family, how it was illegitimate political action for them to try and call a public meeting with the families of racist policing. We've shown a load of reports of innocuous demonstrations by the likes of the Brian Douglas Family Justice Campaign, which he says, show that they were a volatile and venomous group, and that we saw the SDS annual reports that talked about how there was high grade intelligence gathered from attending these candlelit vigils.
Which sort of one thing is like yesterday he kind of acknowledged that it was no good or nonsense to infiltrate or to report on these kind of demonstrations, because there was no violence there. They were right to do it. They were like, he kind of made a separation between, they had a right to be angry with the police. And today he, like several times, like because they went to several family justice campaigns, he did this long spaghetti worded stories about how it indeed was important to be there, because you had to know which other groups would try to infiltrate them or try to, get sort of infiltrate their campaign and get on with it and make it more violent. So he also did like while we were kind of happy with him acknowledging something, at least, that today he said the exact opposite. So what are we listening to? Like no clue.
But it's in those sort of things that he actually gives the truth away. Like he's admitted that they were targeting the campaigns. He just can't say right. He has to go around the field, but he has actually admitted it, and he's admitted that they targeted peaceful groups because it was convenient for them, and he didn't just justify.
C-Spot wanted it.
Yeah, well, it wasn't even a requirement. It's just that we were reporting on them because we had an officer in there. Why did you have an officer in there? Because we wanted a stepping stone to other groups. And then it's going, well, and Barr really took him to task on this. It's like you're trying to draw equivalences between the Anti-Nazi League and Anti-Fascist Action, and you say that one was the other, and it's like none of your logic actually adds up. And Lambert is very much answering the questions in the last half hour. I think this goes to the point. He's not answering the questions yesterday. He's answering the questions today, and he can't actually see that they're the same set of questions. He's just
giving
talking
answers.
shite.
And also, he said that like when he was like confronted about why the Colin Roach Centrum had to be infiltrated, he said, like, yeah, well, several people there and the Colin Roach Centre and Celia Stubb had reference files, had they had files. Why did they have files? So he presented that as a reason that they had to be infiltrated, but the only reason they had these files was because they were reported on by the STS.
But that's the reason that comes up quite often. Why do you have files? Because we reported on them. You get with more than a few mentions. Well, if you've got somebody, it's the Brick Lane phenomenon. We'll send those cops into Brick Lane to police, and suddenly the rate of crime in Brick Lane goes up because police go, okay, I'm just going to arrest everybody for everything. It's like you send undercovers into a group, so there's loads of reports on it, and so they've got a file. It's like it's no strategically led intelligence model at all. It's intelligence gathering simply because they're there.
Yeah, I mean, this circular logic that's like often being deployed by Lambert in his answering of his questions. I mean, that he has revealed a whole bunch of things, but like almost despite himself. It's just simply because he's got to say something. So and you get the impression he sets off with no idea what the destination of his paragraph's going to be.
And he thinks he's way smarter than he is. And I think one of the examples of that, well, there's two which we'll probably come on to, is the Mink release. But earlier in the day, when he was being asked about Peter Francis not being invited to the STS reunion, he starts off thinking, you can see the smugness on his face. You can see that, I know what's going on here. I can deal with this. And suddenly he's like floundering. Every now and again, you'll just watch him and you can see he's really floundering at this moment because it's not what he imagined the conversation was going to be, because he's thinking, I'm 2 steps ahead of these. They're actually 1 step behind.
Yeah, he's definitely. I mean, like every so often he gets really he really gets into it. Yeah, literally. Yeah, he gets all excitable and he's all very grinny and he's like, I can weave something in here, and yeah, he ends up saying something that he didn't really mean to.
Somehow, even after the disappointing days when he last gave evidence about him being undercover, I kind of somewhere I expected him to sort of take a clear position, say, okay, I acknowledge this, I acknowledge that I don't remember, but I should apologize. Like why not do that? Why not sort of be clear about things, or he's got nothing to lose anymore. Like there's so many evidence now where that shows that he made a mess of it.
He is admitting to stuff, but it's the relationships, and he knew several times he's apologizing. But I disagree with you in the thing. I think his identity is so tied up with the unit that every attack on the unit is an attack on him, and he's taking it personal, and that's why. And I think we've seen a few of the other officers. It's like
similar.
They've told lies to themselves. They told lies to current partners. And they have their self-belief tied up in this, that they can't actually dig themselves out of the hole because they are so busy still digging that hole.
Yeah, I think that's completely true. I mean, he is the SDS as far as he's concerned. But I would say just take this thing about this apologies. He hasn't actually apologized. What he said is I probably should apologize. That's not an apology.
Didn't he apologize to the wife of the?
No. He said I probably should apologize to the spouses. Didn't actually apologize. He said I probably should. And then later on when it's brought up, he said, "Oh, I apologize for that."
Yeah,
and
and then
like,
looking down.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
I haven't really said this.
It doesn't. I mean, it doesn't mean anything.
It wasn't in your statements.
Well, quite. Yeah. I mean, like, if he'd wanted to apologize, he's had plenty of opportunities to do a proper apology. He has at no point done that. Just quickly, it'd be really good if people could like these videos. I hate to ask, but like, we haven't had many likes on them lately as opposed to previous tranches, and it makes a big difference to how visible these videos are. I apologize for asking, but if people could like them and share them or whatever, it makes a big difference. Anyway, sorry, you're going to say.
I was thinking, do we have any advice for David Barr, who's asking the questions? He's been pretty strong, like cutting him short, saying, you're not answering the question. That's not what I asked. Let me stop you there. Like, what more can he do to? Apart
from reach over and throttle the man. I mean, I do think he's doing a much better job than he was the first time around, because he is cutting off Lambert on a regular basis and insisting he get on the point. I mean, I think that it still often happens that he asks one. Like I noticed, he asked a question like, regardless of what happened then, what do you think now about what you did? And then Lambert answers by saying he doesn't remember, and Barr just gives up and moves on. I mean, I totally understand that he's got so much to work through, and I would imagine that he's probably behind schedule because the way in which Lambert wastes so much time, that I would imagine he just thinks, well, we'll just park that and move on.
Yeah.
There have been a couple of times where there were little things which he kind of started off. He got into him, and it's like, and then he let it slip. But like again, there's just so much to get through.
And also, Barr's having the same experience that we're having, only double, because he's got to concentrate. At least we were able to go, I'm just going to tune out for 5 minutes. Barr has been doing this all day, all yesterday, and he's still got another 2 days of this going. Like I say, he's down for 3.5 days. It's, but I think, Barr clearly has a game plan, and he's playing to it.
Just to say, I haven't been tuning out for 5 minutes at any point. Due to my incessant desire to constantly cover everything, I've been fully tuned in, and I've got to say, it is. I mean, I've literally got a headache, like a physical headache, from trying to follow Lambert today and yesterday, and I can't. I am absolutely dreading another day and a half of listening to his fucking voice and the tiresomeness of it. I mean, I can only hope that that he comes out of it much worse off, because it's unbearable to follow in so much detail. I hope I'm not giving away too much with the fact that I just find this is so incredibly difficult to do. And I know that my coverage, at the start of the day, I'm banging out tweets every few moments. And then towards the end of the day, they're every 5 minutes, just because.
But just nothing is being said.
Right.
You can't continue to repeat the nothingness.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's for those who aren't actually watching what Lambert has to say, I mean, we can't emphasize enough how much, when you just see the transcript of what he said, and it's this is genuinely doesn't make any sense at all. There is no sense being made of it whatsoever. I thought it was quite telling that when we saw the transcript of his Operation Hearn interview, the bit which was actually recorded word for word, and it is the same nonsense. Oh well, yes, and well, and he just, oh right, yeah, he's this is obviously part of his playbook. That it.
Deny and delay.
Yeah.
But it's really a playbook he learned while he was undercover as well. So it's just it's interesting to watch on this. It's somebody who talks a lot, says very little. Well, that's perfect for an undercover.
Yeah.
Somebody who just, as people keep saying, well, where's the politics? This is how he got around pretending politics. He gave the sound bites, but there was nothing underneath.
Yeah.
The one thing I can't imagine that he was described as charismatic and very attractive. It's that he has lost.
Yeah, I mean, I think that because this is an act, and I'm sure that the charismatic Bob is an act as well. None of us have ever seen the real Bob Lambert. Either the people who talk about him being charismatic when he was a younger man and deployed undercover, or us witnessing this person who's just being, overly difficult on purpose and pretending to have dementia. There's somewhere under there. There's a real Bob Lambert. God knows what he's like.
I don't want to know him.
No, me neither. Me neither. It's been a difficult day. We've got another day and a half of it.
We should mention the mink.
Oh yeah,
mink things. Sorry. One of the things they touched on was the 1999, 98, 99, 88, 98 mink release in Hampshire, which was like somewhere 5,000 or 6,000 mink were released. With an undercover cop being part of it. Now they're going to try and play down, say, oh, you know, she wasn't really committing a crime. She was probably driving or doing something for us. Like everybody else who would be involved in something like that would be arrested either for conspiracy or things. So they're trying to say she wasn't involved that much. There's a lot of discussion about whether, you know, she started up a relationship with an activist because of pressure from the managers. And then, you know, she immediately goes into this huge ALF action. And then you see the documents saying that, oh, it's just going to be a few hundred animals, as if that's not significant. And there's a question about, do they even tell their own managers about this? Or they realize how much they've screwed up with this, that even they're trying to bury it. It's not entirely clear.
Well,
but this was a huge thing first time. I think we want to put it back in context because it was, you know, I was getting involved in animal rights at that time. It's like it was all over the TV.
Huge.
Hampshire police has put loads of resources into investigating it. You know, constantly coming back to the great benefits of special demonstration squad, protecting public order, saving money. What a colossal fuck up that was.
Well, he kind of said that like they didn't really realize that what it meant to release that many. We never thought about it. He admitted that, and we maybe have to mention that, like just a couple of years ago, when all this started to come out through the inquiry, the Metropolitan Police went as far as apologizing to the local police that they had not told them about the upcoming action.
I mean, the only ever apology that we know of where one force has apologized to the other. Certainly the Metropolitan Police doesn't apologize to the people that finds the people that's murdered, but it will apologize to the Hampshire Police.
I mean, I think it really should be underlined how much of a big news story it was at the time. I remember it happening. I remember front page news across the tabloids, across the broadsheets. It was, you know, like it wasn't just a one-day news event. It was a multiple-day news event. And it became a bit of a byword for how like foolish animal rights activists were, that they've released these predatory animals against the local wildlife. And you know, for many years, it was something that was like called back upon as like, this is what's wrong with animal rights, is that they would release mink into the countryside. You know, I mean, to find out that it was an undercover police officer who was behind that kind of speaks volumes about those sort of things.
I just want to say I'm all for mink releases. But that, you know, that's thousands of animals that would have been stripped half alive for fur coats. Yay. Release them all.
Release them all to the House of Commons. Right. We've had some questions or some comments. One here from Frank Bennett. Been listening to Bob Lambert for 2 days now. He waffles on and sends me to sleep. If only we fell asleep to him. That would be something. Another one from a Proud Hun. Bob Lambert is a soulless husk of nothing but evil. He's an energy vampire. It's very true. Another comment. He gives the entire internet a headache. All coppers are bastards, indeed. Another one, he puts the lie in Leiden. Mitting wasn't impressed with his not remembering. No, I think very much. I mean, we saw a couple of interventions by Mitting today. There was one breach today. I'm not going to talk about any detail because I'm in trouble with that sort of thing, which we can't talk about. But there was one breach. There was one section of the day which wasn't broadcast. As I'm led to understand that they actually didn't put the broadcast back on until after lunch.
Yeah.
So people lost about 40 minutes of proceedings today.
That's bad inquiry. That's bad. Do better, please.
Yeah, very, very disappointing. I'm sure representations will be made to the inquiry. There was genuinely no need for it. I'm not going to start apportioning any blame, but it was, you know, this was something that could very easily have been avoided. There was no need for it whatsoever. I had a whole bunch of tweets which I wasn't allowed to publish. I was fully aware of what the breach was. I had no intention of publishing the breach, but there was a whole bunch of stuff either side of it, which is covered by the restriction order, which is always very frustrating. But yeah, I mean, hopefully, we can only hope that the inquiry learns from this experience and improves the way that it handles things like this. Yeah. Anything else you'd like to add?
I want to go home.
We will be back again tomorrow. Oh, there's further comment. This from Martin Lowe. Having known Bob as he was a dynamic young man and how attractive he was at the time, it was what has become now is totally shocking. Yeah, I mean, a number of people have made a similar comment, Martin. I mean, I think like there was quite people, particularly when he first appeared, who was absolutely shocked at the kind of person that he presented himself as. But then, I mean, also people who've known him in more recent years, and indeed, if you see him on YouTube from a few years before his first appearance at the inquiry, where he was much more lucid and, not pretending to have dementia as he is at the moment. He cuts a very different character indeed. And just another one. Spam. Sorry, I do apologize. Yes. Anything else you'd like to add?
No.
We'll be back again 10 a.m. tomorrow. Please follow us. You can help spread the visibility of this coverage by liking, sharing, subscribing, all that stuff. This is live on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok. There's
Trying to do our best to be young.
Yeah. Another person just responding to Martin. We've all aged, though, Martin. I mean, yeah.
This inquiry will age.
This inquiry ages. We can't all keep looking better like I do, eh? Do you know what I mean? But thanks for joining us. See you all in the morning.